Bippity, boppity, boo. A very wise Disney movie by the name of Cinderella once taught me that a dream is a wish your heart makes. So I dreamed that I had this set, and then lo and behold, I went out and bought it. So this is Cinderella's Royal Carriage, which appears to be a jazzed up version of Cinderella's Carriage, a LEGO Junior set, and Cinderella's Carriage Ride. I guess the difference here is that Cinderella's Royal Carriage is, royal. I'm also not gonna lie, I definitely 100% bought this set for the horses and Gus Gus. I did not buy it for the Cinderella mini doll. I'm not a fan of how inaccurate her dress is. It looks nothing like the picture, look. If anything, I would say it looks kind of similar to the dress that she made herself in the movie, but that dress was pink. I am excited about the fairy godmother, but her dress is also inaccurate. But at least it's really cool looking. Alright, enough poking around, let's open this thing up and see what we are working with. Okay, we have a couple of bags, some stickers, not very many, sort of flowery, decorative looking things. We have the horses, which we'll take a closer look at later, and one very hefty booklet. Now, I just want to check and see if there are any other Disney sets coming out, but these look like the ones that we already have, so, boo. Okay, and then 2 bags. Let's go ahead and get our first one open. Now, we are going to be building all of our minifigures in this first bag, which is kind of sad because they're the star of the show, and once they're built, they're built. Of course, we're going to start with Cinderella, and I'm going to act as though I don't know how wildly inaccurate her dress is. If I got this dress in a set, I would think, how cute, right? It has a little bow at the neckline, there's a bow holding up the top layer of the skirt. It's a nice color, it has stars, it's fun. Now, the back of the dress is a bit of a surprise. There's printing on the top, which I didn't expect. It has a nice little corset tie. The back of the skirt is blank, which is what I thought the entire back of the dress would be like. You'll also note that there's a slit here, which means Cinderella can sit in, say, a carriage. Her face is pretty standard, nothing too exciting, though her eyes match her dress, which is a nice little detail. And last but not least, we have her hairpiece, which is a really accurate representation of the movie, actually. I think they did a really great job with this. And that is our Cinderella. So I wanted to take a moment to compare the mini doll to the picture on the box, because as you can see, box Cinderella has a black choker, she has earrings, and the style of her dress is completely different, whereas mini doll Cinderella has a ton of bows, and her hair is very yellow, so not really an accurate depiction. We do, however, get Gus Gus with this set, and I'm so excited. This is not a hamster, it looks like one of the hamsters, but instead it's the mouse from Cinderella, our delightfully portly friend. I do think it's kind of strange that his nose is not printed on the bottom half. But aside from that, I think he looks pretty good. He has his little yellow shirt. He's very, very cute. And the final person we're taking a look at today is our fairy godmother. Now, I have no idea why they chose to give her a purple outfit instead of a blue outfit, but that's okay because it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the ball gown style, like how it's round and it's covered in these beautiful shiny metallic stars. It's awesome. What's not awesome is that the back is plain, but it's to be expected. Now let's pop her head on here and take a look at her face. She does not look old enough to be a fairy godmother, except for the fact that her eyebrows are gray. And also it looks like there's a slight misprint with her mouth, like maybe the lips were printed a little too low. And then she has a little tuft of hair peeking out from beneath her hood. I do think it's weird that there's all this empty space like around her face and around her shoulders where the hair would be, but I think it still looks pretty good. It's a cool piece. And last but not least, our fairy godmother gets a cool pink translucent wand so she can help Cinderella and make sure all of her dreams come true. But enough of fairies, humans, and mice. It is time for the horses, and I'm so excited about these. They are gorgeous. Look at this. If you could envision the ideal Lego horse, this would be it. Beautiful, sparkly metallic spots. The hair and the tail are kind of rubbery. There's room for accessories on the mane. I just think this is so beautiful. And to add to the magic, each horse gets a little pink translucent plume that matches the fairy godmother's wand. Very fitting. So while Gus can take a ride on one of these horses, unfortunately our mini dolls can't. I guess technically Cinderella could vault, but the fairy godmother is not gonna fit. Let's give our horse a friend, and these look to be identical. Yeah, these are the same horse, but that's okay. It's really fun to have 2 of them. And we need 2 of them to pull the carriage, which we have yet to build, so let's go ahead and do that. First, however, we have to build a little table. And now I think it would be easier if we could use some magic. So I'll use the spare wand and bippity, boppity, and boo. So this is a really cute table. I love this flowery piece that makes up the tablecloth. I like that Gus gets some cheese, and I love the nod to the pumpkin. We also get to build a trunk to hold all of Cinderella's treasures. These include an invitation to the ball, and of course we have to have the glass slippers, the beautiful glass slippers, which are printed on a tile piece. This is gorgeous. Let's see if she can hold it in her hand. Nope, too loose. Okay, the final thing she gets is a crown, which makes sense because this is Cinderella's royal carriage ride. She is a royal, and the crown indicates that. I also just realized that I completely forgot to give the fairy godmother her cape. This fabric piece comes in a separate box. I totally missed it, and this explains why there's that weird gap around the shoulders, right? It should be taken up with the fabric cape. Oops. All right, now it's finally time to begin building the carriage. I don't always love building vehicles, but I am excited about this one because it looks quite beautiful, at least from the box pictures, and I really like the color scheme. I like all of these blues. So let me just grab my magic wand and maybe we can do a little more magic. Yep, and get the boring pieces out of the way. There we go. I did want to slow it down and take a look at these decorations right here, which are perfect because they're gold and fancy, but they also look like pumpkin vines, which is a perfect nod to where the carriage came from. Okay, and now we're going to add these powder blue pieces, and like I said, I'm a huge fan of the color scheme. I think it's really beautiful. And that at least gets me a little bit excited about building these inner workings. I don't know what part we're working on here, something about the inside, I don't know. And then we're going to build a little stepping place for Cinderella so she can safely enter the carriage. All right, and I guess we're gonna build another one. That makes sense, you can enter the carriage from either side. And then we will pop those bad boys on. There you go. Now, if you're anything like me, sometimes you are working on a Lego set and then you realize that you completely put a piece on wrong and you have to fix it before you can proceed. So there we go. Now we're going to add some blue pieces that are a little bit darker, a little more complementary to this set, and some clippies. I wonder what they will be holding. We also get to have our first sticker. Ooh, it looks very ornate. This is a fancy pattern. So I'm not sure if this is going to end up being a cushion in the carriage or maybe the floor of the carriage. I think it could arguably be either of those things before we've built enough to know. And we're going to add some little curtain rod pieces. I don't know the official name for them. And some footrest pieces so our princess can sit. And she just clips right in there. So this is obviously the seat of the carriage and she can lean back against that perfect Disney princess pink backrest. Okay, next we have to add a ton of these golden pumpkin vines, not only because, you want everyone to be aware that this carriage used to be a pumpkin, but also because it just looks amazingly decorative, right? These spirals and arches and trellises or whatever they're called. They're really, really lovely, and it's fitting for a royal carriage. Okay, once you have successfully vined your carriage to your heart's content, we're going to add some little guardrails so Cinderella doesn't fall out if the ride gets a little bumpy as she's running away from Prince Charming. And that is bag number 1. Let's take a look at bag number 2, which looks to be the top part of our carriage and a lot of gold decorations. Okay, I don't know what this is that we're supposed to be building, but it looks kind of like a backbone. So let's utilize a little of that video magic here. Whew, okay, not a backbone, just the base of the top of the carriage or maybe the side of the carriage. So I think what I'm really going to like about this set is how there aren't a lot of exposed studs. When I was younger, I actually really didn't like Lego because I thought that it was kind of ugly. It wasn't round enough or smooth enough for me. So I like that there's not a lot of pointiness here. Because there is so much blank white smooth space, it means that there's tons of room to do decorating with stickers. Now, would it be cool to have printed pieces? Yes, of course, but I can see why they'd be a little bit specific. So I will deal with putting on the stickers because they do add a lot to the decoration of this particular carriage. It looks extra magical. Speaking of magic, let's get our wand. And just like that, we can make a second carriage side appear without actually having to build it. Funny how that works. Now, these two sides pop on either side of the guardrail pieces, and just like that, our carriage is almost built. So maybe, I actually don't know how much we have left, but I think there's ample room here for a mini doll, which is the important part. And now that we have the sides of our carriage built, we can make a top to keep the elements from getting in. Okay, even though we're using these dark gray pieces, I think the blue is going to be the only thing that really shows. At least I hope, because otherwise it doesn't really match. Okay, get this on here, and there you go. Now that we have the base of the carriage body built, we can spend some time actually decorating. And I got really excited when I saw these pieces come out of the bag, these blue curved pieces, because I think they're so beautiful. And I know we're going to be covering them up with gold, but I hope at least a little bit is visible. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's meant to be. We're going to continue to cover up this beautiful blue color with gold, but then we get to add some fancy gold decorations. So this actually does look pretty good, and you do see like a hint of that light blue color around the rim of the gold. And there you go. Now both of our sides are completed, and we need to create the top of our carriage to make it look a little more exciting than just a flat studded piece. And we are going to get fancy. This looks, wow, this is rich, lavish. I'm also really digging these pops of pink that we're getting throughout the carriage. And of course a crown because royal. Of course, our carriage can't go anywhere unless it has wheels. And oh my goodness, I think it would be worth it to buy this set for the wheel pieces alone. These are absolutely beautiful. I love how intricate they are, and they fit perfectly with the design of the carriage, which is in fact very complex and swirly. I think that's the best word. It's swirly. So we're no fairy godmother, but I think we did a pretty good job of creating a very magical looking carriage here. We do, however, need to add the horses, so let's build a little hitch or a harness or some kind of fancy bejeweled whatever you call this. Now, if I were still 8 years old, you better believe that I would have completely ignored the carriage part of the set, and I would have spent all of my time playing with the magical horses. I think they are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But now that I'm older, I can appreciate things like color scheme and the fact that we still have a few stickers left to do, these little banners with Cinderella's initial on them. And I can go, yeah, okay, that looks pretty good. It's nice to have the total effect here. And it is one that is very fancy, which is fitting because I know I've said it like 500 times, but this is a royal carriage. This should look like it came from a palace. And with all of the little intricate pieces here, it certainly does. All right. I just want to see what happens if we pop this on the back of the horses. Obviously this won't fit if you, okay, that looks hilariously awful. All right, you have to pull off their little back pieces, of course, in order to put the harness on. And there, that looks a lot better. Fits like how it should. After that, you just kind of pop it onto the hitch and you are done. So final thoughts about this set. It is very expensive at $40 US, but I do feel like you get a lot for that. First of all, it's a licensed set, right? It's Disney, so that's going to up the price. And you get 2 mini dolls and 3 animals. And 2 of those animals are enormous, magical, sparkly horses. I'm not a big fan of Cinderella's dress piece, but I do think that the fairy godmother's dress and outfit could have a lot of different applications. The little table build doesn't add a whole lot to the set, but if you have a kid or you are a kid who likes to act out scenes from the movie, I can see why this would be an important piece to have. I also really like that Gus gets a piece of cheese. That's really cute. All in all, I enjoyed this set much more than I thought I would. I do like Disney, but as I've said in a few of my videos, I'm not a huge fan of vehicles. So I was pleasantly surprised by how beautiful this carriage is and how easy it is to play with. Like, look how open it is. You can shove mini dolls right in there and add things to it, and it just looks really, really well done. Now, I have many more LEGO Friends sets, Harry Potter sets, LEGO Friends cubes left in my stock to build, so please consider liking and subscribing, and we can check those out together. All right, everyone, until we build again, I will see you then. Bye!